Due to technical issues, I couldn't continue in last presentation. So we were discussing about how any country attracts more foreign funds with the help of better infrastructure, with the help of LPG policies, liberalization, privatization, and globalization policies. Government attracts more funds. When the more funds are inflowing to our country, then it has to be converted to Indian rupee. Then Indian rupee gets demand. Increased demand results in appreciation of rupee against other currencies. Then the forex reserve. Reserves are the ammunition that can be deployed to ward off speculative attacks on a currency. A healthy reserves position enables the central bank to manage the exchange rate in line with its goals and domestic economic consideration. So foreign exchange reserves are nothing but those investment from central bank or government in various assets in foreign currencies, or the reserving of certain amount of foreign currency. See, if the central bank is having 1 million US dollar, then it is considered as forex reserve. If the central bank has bought certain bonds or certain treasury bills from Federal Bank of United States, then that investment is in US dollar, then that is also considered as foreign exchange reserves. See, if the central bank if the central bank is having more reserves, then the country's economy is in better position. Then foreign exchange debt. Debt is an absolute term in relation to gross domestic production and short-term debt as a percentage of reserves, that is liquidity ratio. High forex debt ratio is considered adverse for the currency. So that is, if the country is having more debt and if the country has borrowed a loan from many foreign countries in many other foreign currencies, then that loan amount has to be paid in that currency only. To pay in that currency, you have to buy that currency by selling the rupee. So if you are selling more rupees, then demand for rupee gets reduced, then rupee depreciates against other currencies. Then agricultural production or food stocks. It is the threat of high inflation is less if the country is comfortably positioned as far as availability of items of mass consumption is concerned. Low inflation risk is considered favorable for the currency. See, if we are producing more and more goods, then we can export more and more. If we are if our country's export is more than import, then again our country's balance of payment or current account and current account deficit will get reduced, and we will have a positive response from other countries and other currencies. Then commodity prices. So important for commodity intensive exporting countries like Australia and South Africa. High commodity prices for oil, gold, base metals, coffee, etc. favor the exchange rates of major producers of these products. See, it is nothing but if you are producing more, if you have abundant resources like gold, iron ores, coal, etc., then definitely your export will be increases. And if you are exporting more and more goods to other countries, then the demand for rupee gets increased, and increased demand results in appreciation of Indian rupee against other currencies. Then the rate of GDP growth. The GDP is the key thing which measures the country's economy. So if the increasing GDP shows, it forecasts better economic condition of a country. So if the stable economy and increased trend of GDP attracts more foreign investors, and if the foreign investors are more and they are investing more foreign currencies, they have to convert their own currency into Indian rupee. Again, Indian rupee gets more and more demand, more demand results in appreciation of rupee against dollar. Then the political factors. Political factors is nothing but stable government. So stable government can take major decisions on liberalization, privatization and globalization policies which directly impacts on foreign direct investments and foreign institutional investors. Those investors who would like to invest in our country, they always look for stable government and government's decision on foreign investments. So if the government is favorable, if the government allows more and more FDIs, foreign direct investments, then more and more investors will come down to our country and they invest more and more money. So if the American citizen is willing to invest 100 crore rupees in India, then he will be having US dollar with him. So to invest in rupee, he has to convert his US dollar to Indian rupee, then only he can invest. While converting, he has to buy the Indian rupee again. This buying order results in increased demand for Indian rupee, and as always, increased demand results in appreciation of Indian rupee against other countries. So stability of government is the confluence and interplay of all the above factors, past and prospective, which determines currency movements. Different factors predominate at different times, creating uncertainty and volatility which characterize currency markets. So in this session, we have discussed about factors influencing. See, factors influencing exchange rate means it is nothing but why any currency fluctuates against other countries' currencies. So this fluctuating currency is called as floating exchange rate regime. And floating exchange rate regime, why any currency fluctuates against other currencies? The major factor is demand and supply of concerned currency. Why there is a variation in demand and supply of a currency? It is because of all these factors, this political factor, money market instruments, the foreign exchange debt, current balance of payment, trade policies from the government, etc. etc. So if the country's economy is emerging, and if the country's economy is and GDP is relatively increasing year on year, then that country attracts more and more foreign funds, more and more foreign investors. If the country attracts more and more foreign investment or investors, ultimately that country's currency will appreciate against other countries' currencies. Thank you.